I can't even begin to explain how much of a rage I am feeling at the moment. The rage for the idea. The rage is so big that I genuinely want to start to cry. I'm visiting my family. It's Christmas. I should be happy, but I'm not. I haven't been with them lately a lot. Well, it has been of my perception that lately a lot of people are using AI for a lot of things, and I can never bring myself to understand why of that. For I don't feel like that I should be the one to supremely judge those people, for I myself have used that, but that was before I knew what it was actually doing and what the side effects of it was, how it was killing our planet, how it makes us dumber, and how just stupid it all is. Well, I've only gathered that hatred at first only for generative images that AI created and people claiming it as art. That was not art. It's not. And it will never be. And that was the only hatred I truly had towards generative AI. I didn't care about gathering information. I believed for a second that it was actually quite useful. But there was always something off that I could not explain about it. And I myself have not brought myself to yet understand what it truly is, but perhaps I am starting to realize how bad of a thing that is, how bad technology has become to us. It seems like the use of AI is just making us dumber. Just dumber and dumber. I know so many classmates of mine, so many people I've met that use ChatGPT or Gemini or all these other apps to do their homework or ask a simple question that could be answered by a human person, or, as of my teacher, using AI as a therapist. And I hate to say that, but in my eyes, that is just so selfish. I hate to have to believe that we've become selfish, but we have. Well, I myself am selfish. I myself have used it. I myself have contributed for it once. I myself am selfish for other things. But I don't want to be selfish for that anymore. why do we craft? Why do we ask? Why do we read? Why do we wonder? Why do we look? They're all human qualities that not just AI, but technology seems to be taking away from us. On a Saturday, you don't go out to look at the trees, to look at the sky, to gather bugs, to smell flowers, to, I don't know, go picnic on near a lake. At your house, you don't climb a tree. You don't go out with friends. You don't enjoy the sun. You don't do anything. You just want to stay closed because you're afraid. You're not afraid of perhaps the idea of, well, perhaps you're not afraid of people, but you're afraid of idea of having to talk to people. And that is just so... My mother just barged in. I'll tell you what she stated in a second, but we don't talk to people anymore. We don't want to talk to people. And I just feel like the use of technology as replacement for people is just horrendous. And as of that use, we've become afraid for you see, technology doesn't have emotions. It will never have. And we do. We always have and always will. To talk to a robot instead of a person is to be afraid of feeling real feelings. A robot doesn't have that. It doesn't have real feelings. For even the most selfish, troubled, sad person in the world has a feeling. They feel happiness in a way. They feel sadness, they feel anger, they feel disgust. They feel loss, they feel grief. They feel all those things, and a robot can never feel that because they're not human. You know, well, my mother has joked about that I was sad that I got angry because she saw me making this video, and she even joked about it. She was like, "Oh, hi, haha, you are angry with Gemini." I am. I truly am. And I honestly cannot tell if I'm more angry with people or with AI or with technology, really. I did an experiment as of a week ago, and the experiment was that I would not use TikTok for a week and see what happened. I had time for so many things. I had time to get bored. I had time to get bored. That was something I truly, really did not experience for a really long time. For, you know, everyone gets bored. But what do you do when you get bored? You pick up your phone and, you pick up your phone and the first thing you open is TikTok or Snapchat or Instagram. And you open any kind of social media to keep you entertained. And then after a few minutes, you're not bored. Well, you are, but your mind isn't. Because it just keeps feeding itself with crumbs of entertainment. It thinks it's food. I have, as of that experiment I did, to keep myself entertained, I read a lot. It felt nice, truly. I have so many books on my shelf, which I cannot show off at the moment, unfortunately, because I'm at my sister's house. But I have, like, so to say, 50 books or so. More than 50 books, probably. And a lot of them have been holding up for almost 3 years. And I know probably every reader has those books that have been on the shelf for a really long time and don't know if you'll ever read them or not. But just to see those, but to me personally, just to see all of those books not being read and nothing being extracted from them makes me feel sadness. It makes me feel like I'm not doing any use of them, because I'm not. They're just, what more are books if you don't read them? If you don't read books, they're just pretty things on a shelf. And of course, that is nice to look at. But something pretty is not enough to be valuable. And that goes for people as well. Someone can be the most beautiful person in the world as of physical traits. And I got interrupted once more, I apologize. But just to, wait, maybe. I hope this is a good position, I do not know. Yes. Yeah. Okay, this is fine for me. I'm recording this on the bathroom because my sister's husband, he had to change my nephew. So, but as I was saying, you know, a person can be very beautiful on the outside. They can have eyes like stars and skin like glitter and hair like anything. Well, you understand me. Someone can be very beautiful, but what about their heart? What does their heart contain? Is it flourishing with love and butterflies and kindness? Or is it rotting like a rose in winter? I'm sorry, I had to allow myself to be a bit of a poet at the moment. Well, it is true that so many people who look very pretty are pretty in the inside too. But we're all different. I am not a man to judge myself, to know if I am pretty or not. I can't judge this of myself entirely out of appearance. Well, you know, people have different opinions of what beauty is. But what I think of beauty is, it's broken. You know, one of my favorite people in the entire world, one of the people that I look up to, Gerard Way, he once stated that there's a brokenness, certain brokenness to beauty, and that if you look to certain celebrities, they are not, so to say, conventionally beautiful, but people yet still deem them as beautiful anyways. And he's one of the people that I look up to, for he has struggled with so much and accomplished so much. And there's a lot that I want to learn for him. I think I know I'm still young and I can't judge a lot of myself. But one thing that I can judge of myself is that I have chosen good people to look up to. And you know, I think that in this age of so much to see and too much to know, we have forgotten what was really important. You know, I read a lot of books. I love that I have the habit of reading a lot of books. I'm a slow reader, therefore, and that's okay, but that's not the point. My point is, out of all the books I've read so far, there's one that always captivated me. And the more I read it, the more I understood it, the more I thought about it, the more I knew what the author was trying to say. As of the more I knew, the less I understood. It's an odd book, but it is very known. You might have heard of the title The Little Prince, by Antoine Saint-Exupéry. I hope I've pronounced his name right. No, I'm sorry, my French is not that good. And it is a book that I think people take it more for granted than they realize. It is categorized as a children's tale, but it is not just that. To me, that book is almost like a Bible to life, really, truly. It talks about how odd grown-ups are. It talks about how different kinds of love is, just how dull we've grown as adults and lost our imagination just because we were told by other grown-ups to do so. That is something that I am afraid of losing, my imagination. You know, I have loads of stories to tell. I want to craft. I want to make things out of my hand that comes out of my head. I want to know if the prince will slay the dragon or if he'll give it mercy. I want to know things. I want to learn. I want to look at things. I want to observe things. I want to know how it is when summer ends and the leaves of fall arrive. How it is that process. I want to know why is it that there's so much rage in our world. I want to know yet why it is there's so much love. But I mainly want to know, why is that rage? Why does that rage outshadow the love that we have? You know, at some point this video was about me being angry at technology, but I suppose if you look at a certain level, suppose if you look at it, if you look at a certain level, technology has distracted us from thinking about all of those things. Has been distracting us from living. I am not an old man to say I've shared my wisdom, but I would like that more people thought about that, of why it is that we keep going, of why it is that we live, of why has life been granted for us. And of course many people have different opinions about that, but overall they all come together to one thing, and I believe that is love. We need other people to live, and not just because of communities and all, and of farmers or of workers or anything of that. No, it's because we need to understand what is beyond us, what is beyond ourselves as people, of just us, or else we become selfish. And maybe that's how selfish people came to be as well. They didn't talk much to others. They never wanted to look at the sky or the stars or anything. And now they think they own the whole world, and they don't even know half of it. And they don't own, and they don't possess something that is most important, which is the ability to love, and which is the ability of have mercy, to forgive. Forgiveness is hard. I didn't forgive somebody that hurt me for a long time, and now I forgive them. Because at the end of the day, we're both children. I still have other people that I must forgive, and that this heart of mine can only take so much. By the end of the day, we need people. We need them. There's no argument for that. And if you'd rather talk to something that is not human to prevent yourself from feeling real emotions, I think that's the most cowardly a person can become.